Right, here we are. Let's just double check and see that we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Just check in. And here we are. There we are. And we're live. Welcome, everybody. I'm Abe Bonowitz with Death Penalty Action. And there on the plaza at the Florida State Capitol is Bill Kissinger and Reverend Susan Gage. And they've just delivered the petitions protesting the execution tomorrow in Florida of Edward Zakarzewski, if I'm saying that right, another Air Force veteran. So, Bill, thanks for being there. And Susan, thank you for being there. Just so grateful for your presence. I'm going to just highlight you a little bit more, and the other way around I'm into do. Here we go. Let's see if this works. And there we are. Turn your camera sideways. Let's see what happens when you do that.
How's that?
There we go. Great. So welcome. Tell us, thanks, Bill. You are an Air Force veteran and a Vietnam veteran, and today you delivered a petition. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it was kind of a harrowing experience. Like I told Reverend Gage, it actually was an opportunity to heal a little bit. It's my first time being at the Capitol, so I was kind of out of my element. But I met up with Grace this morning, received the petitions, several thousand signatures, as a matter of fact, and came directly to the Capitol. And there was some miscommunication there, and I was able to deliver the petitions. The security was welcoming and even understanding on my second trip through. The reason that I made the effort is because not only is Edward a fellow Air Force veteran, but and I respect his service. You know, what impacted me is that Edward maintained a very good military service record. His appearance, uh, force readiness, everything was always either meeting or exceeding Air Force compliance standards. And okay, he did a terrible crime, but and we acknowledge that. We feel for him. We feel for the victims. We feel for everybody involved in this. But what he did was so out of character for him that that needs to be taken into consideration. And we're just afraid that it won't be. And that's why we submitted the petitions.
And those petitions came from both Floridians for alternatives to the death penalty and death penalty action, thousands of signatures. Reverend Gage, you're there also in Tallahassee, an Episcopal priest. Thanks for being present. What would you like to share with Floridians and about the death penalty in Florida and what we all need to do?
Well, I think that we all have to search our hearts about whether or not we consider taking another life as an answer for lives that are already taken. As Bill was saying, we have to acknowledge the fact that murder is wrong and killing people is wrong. But the state doing it then actually makes everybody who's a taxpayer complicit in an additional murder. And I just don't see how you can reconcile any kind of ethic of life with taking another life. And so that's what I would encourage people to do, is to pray for the people who were injured to begin with, pray for the people who lost loved ones, and also pray for the fact that there's going to be another life taken by the state. And this is like number 10 just this year. And what are we really accomplishing with that? What are we really doing to make for a better world, a world where we're actually building people up? I don't see how the death penalty is helping in that.
Thank you for that. So, here at Death Penalty Action, we're trying to lift up everybody. I've put the webpage for Floridians for alternatives to the death penalty. And so, together, we've been working on this and all these executions. Tomorrow, there's going to be a protest outside the prison if Governor DeSantis doesn't act to stop this execution. We're inviting people to go to fadp.org or deathpenaltyaction.org and sign the petitions. We'll send more in tomorrow, Thursday, and then, of course, there'll be a vigil. It starts at 5 o'clock, both at the prison in Florida State Prison and in Stark, Florida, as well as the virtual vigil. And the information for that is on the Death Penalty Action petition, which you can find at deathpenaltyaction.org. And Bill, you know, one of the things that you remarked on, and you sent me some pictures of all of the recognition of veterans in the governor's office while you were in the state capitol.
Right.
Talk about that a little bit more.
Well, before I do, I want to point something out. I think that what Susan was really trying to say is something that we say all the time, and that's that killing people who kill people to show people that killing people is wrong never works. So I just wanted to point that out.
And you say that as a veteran.
I say that as a veteran. I say that as a human being.
Amen.
It just doesn't work, you know? So we have to get away from that mindset. The experience that I had upstairs, it dawned on me as I was looking around the hallway on the way into the governor's office that they had this big memorial wall for Medal of Honor recipients from Florida. And it struck me that you care enough about veterans who made the ultimate sacrifice to put their name on a wall in the state capitol in Tallahassee, but you don't care enough about veterans who honorably served on death row. To me, that's just a striking. It struck me wrong, and I think we need to pay more attention to our veterans.
Well, exactly right. You are there on the plaza between the old state capitol, which is right behind you, and
Right.
And then across the plaza there is the new state capitol. Or wait, what? Yeah, and and you were just in there. I don't think the legislature is in session today, but what was your interaction like inside the governor's office?
Well, actually, from the moment that I got here and met with security to get my directions and everything, everyone was real nice. There was no opposition. They clearly told me where to go and who to see. I went down the hall, and from the moment that I got there, they were very receptive. She was polite and friendly, and she said, "I'll put it together as quick as I can and get it in the back."
Okay. Well, thank you. Susan, you're part of the Episcopal Church, which is obviously outspoken on this issue. And hopefully, well, there's lots of people that are faith-based that are coming to this work, and also people that are not faith-based. But what's the call to, again, the call to action to people of faith on this issue?
Again,
and then we'll wrap it up.
Call to faith, or the call to people of faith is to, particularly if you're a Christian, to remember that the death penalty was an action of the state to kill Jesus, and to consider that our Savior was put to death by an empire. One way to look at it. Another way is to just simply understand, as we've been saying, that
Oh, we're losing sound. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes. Okay. Sorry, keep talking. I think we can hear you better now.
So So just you can't expect to end a culture of death by committing more murders, by more death. And um, certainly, anyone who's a person of faith, no matter what your faith.
Well, I'm not sure what's happening. I hope you can hear me okay. Your sound chipped out about a bit, but can you all hear me all right?
But we can hear you. There's like
Yeah.
a hissing static in the background.
Got it. Well, we can. So, well,
It's called the
yeah, I think
devil.
that's my old computer getting too hot. So anyway, we've said our piece. We've delivered our petitions today. We're going to deliver more petitions, which is why people can go to deathpenaltyaction.org and deliver more petition and sign petitions. We'll be delivering them again in Florida tomorrow and in Tennessee on Monday if we don't get a stop to next week's execution in Tennessee. But in any case, please do something. Call the governor.
Me.
If you get to deathpenaltyaction.org,
Yeah,
I
think it's
back
over.
there, Bill. If we can get to deathpenaltyaction.org and sign a petition,
I think we lost him.
Petition, get the phone number.
Bill, I appreciate
to,
your time with you.
Thank you very much. I'm very blessed.
Here we
Good
go.
met you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
When,
There's another thing that
when you
comes
get
up
to
on these things. There's always a vigil that's held outside the governor's mansion.
Mhm.
There we are. When you get to deathpenaltyaction.org, it's sign petitions for the upcoming executions. And that is where, when you're on a petition, that's where you get the phone number to the governor to call Governor DeSantis or Governor Lee in Tennessee for the execution next week. And then we'll be back. Of course, unfortunately, if this execution is not halted, then we'll be at on our live vigil. It starts at 5 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow, and that's Thursday tomorrow. And everybody's invited to join us there. And again, information to register for the Zoom or find it live where you're watching right now, whatever social media channel you're on, you'll be able to find it. The live virtual vigil starts always an hour before the scheduled execution. So for tomorrow, that's at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, an hour in advance of the killing that's scheduled at 6 p.m. If you're just joining us, we were on live with Bill Kissinger and Reverend Susan Gage, who had delivered petitions from Floridians for alternatives to the death penalty and death penalty action to the Florida governor's office in the Florida state capitol. So with that, please go to deathpenaltyaction.org, sign the petitions. If you're able to make a donation, help us do this work, and you're grateful for anything that you can do to help build opposition to the death penalty. So make it a great day. Do something to show our resistance to executions in the United States. It's a record-setting year, and we've got to speak out every chance we get.